בזכות הצדיק רבי משה פינטו הקדוש ברוך הוא give everyone ברכה והצלחה and סייעתא דשמיא גדולה מקדם וכתב לקראתה and בעזרת השם this new year that we are starting be a year full of ישועה נחמה ושמחה and סייעתא דשמיא בעזרת השם. Now, רבותיי, today is Monday. We know that every single day has an energy of the day that is unique to it, and we all need to try our best to not only understand it and duck if, God forbid, there is a little bit of a more harsh day, but also to make sure to turn every single day into a day full Yeshua and full Bracha. We know that Monday is usually a day of Gvura, which means strength. Now, strength, we explain it in many ways. It could be taken in a way of using that strength to reach to a further place of success, or, God forbid, if the strength takes control of us, it can push us in a direction that we don't necessarily wish to initially. But today we're sitting and we're thinking, with all what's happening around the world, what can we do in order to make sure that all the chaos that is occurring doesn't affect us in our own personal life? Whether it's what's happening abroad, whether it's happening here, whether it's happening amongst us here in America, what can we do to protect us from all this noise, all this balagan? So now, this week's parasha is the most applicable parasha for avoiding a world which is completely destroyed and being protected in a certain bubble. Where do we see that? We start with the whole story of Noach. So the question we were thinking is, what can we learn from Korach to try to imitate within our own lives to create for ourselves our own teva, that regardless of what will happen in the world, us, our families, our community will always be protected. So I found a beautiful teaching by the Baal Shem Tov that gives a little bit of a unique one, but sends us on a very, very, very special path. The Baal Shem Tov says, and he builds this entire limud, this entire Torah, regarding this idea that the whole story of the Teva and the ark of Noach was actually Lashon, was actually Dibur. And he establishes it very, very beautifully in length that we're not going to get into. A small thing that I will bring up just to show how detailed he goes to prove that the Teva is really the koach of words, the power that we have with our words. If we take the size of the Teva, it was 300 in length, 50 in width, 30 in height. So if you take the numbers in Gematria, you have what? Shin, Nun, Lamed. Shin 300, Nun 50, Lamed 30. That's essentially the sizing. The Baal Shem Tov says, if we take those Gematriot and we put them together, what word comes out? Lashon. What's Lashon? It's what comes out of our mouth. So you're thinking about that. How does Dibur have any association, any connection to this idea of being protected from disasters that could occur in the world? And we thought of something very, very unique. We know about that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, he created the world with the Aseret HaMa'amarot. There were 10 sentences that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said out loud, and with every single sentence he created different aspects of the world and set up the laws of nature. Now these laws of nature are laws that are unbreakable. They are laws that even HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in most cases of scenario, must follow. And obviously they are the laws that affect us within our life in the most prominent manner, this world, what occurs in this world. Zohar HaKadosh says that there's only one thing that can overcome the Aseret HaMa'amarot, the 10 commandments, the 10 words that formed the world. That is what? Zohar HaKadosh says, Aseret HaDibrot. What is this concept of Aseret HaDibrot? Zohar HaKadosh is something very simple. Ma'amar is a sentence that is said out loud, not directed to anybody, not ordered, but something that was said in a public fashion. Zohar HaKadosh says a dibur, a word, is a commandment. With the idea of dibur is a lashon of malchut. It's a language of commandment, a language of kingdomship. We know where it says, Amelech yidaber, the king speak, and the soldiers and the messengers, they fulfill the will of the king. Any place the word dibur, daber el bnei Israel, it's not a suggestion, or not mention, but rather bring to fruition, commandment. And that's why in English, we call the Tzeret HaDibrot, the 10 sentences, not 10 sentences, but rather 10 commandments, because Chazal, whoever translated it, really wanted to try to encapsulate the meaning of what we say, Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 sentences which are commandments. We said maybe we can say that the idea of Dibur of Kedusha, such as Tefillah, such as Limud Torah, has the power, like what the Baal Shem Tov says, to truly create for ourselves a teva, where regardless of what occurs in the world, regardless of what natural disaster, man-made disaster, regardless of whatever will occur, mabul, storm, whatever it is, our words that we have, the power of our tefillah, the power of our Torah, could allow us to keep us safe, to protect us, and to lead us to many, many more years of Yeshua and Bracha. And that's something, Abotai, that I would like to just say 2 more words to really tie together all what occurred in the last few weeks. We know, Abotai, Rosh Hashanah, we said, Le'olam Hashem, Devacha, Nitzav, Bashamayim. What does that mean? We say, Hashem, your words, which are the words of Torah, they are in Shamayim, they are always in Shamayim. Meaning that what? Meaning that the words of Torah and of Tefillah, in its nature, is always above the nature. It doesn't come down to the world. It's not something that even though we hear it in this world and we can see it and we can understand it, it still has no application to this world and therefore not bound to the rules of this world. The concept of words of Torah and words of Tefillah, at its core was always what? At its core was always a beacon of protection and being disconnected from this world, from the good, and Baruch Hashem, and Be'ezrat Hashem, from the bad. The same thing, Abotai, we can see the last Torah of the Chamish Lachim Shel Torah. Devarim. Ela Devarim, Asher Diber Moshe. When Bnei Yisrael are about to enter into Eretz Yisrael, they're about to enter into wars, they're about to enter into balagan, they're about to enter into conquering, Moshe needed to give them one thing that would protect them. What is this thing that he gave them? Devarim. What's Devarim? Dibur. What type of dibur? What type of words? The words of Torah. So, Abotai, we can have balagan in the world. There could be war. There could be mess. There could be financial ups and downs. It means nothing. Even if a flood comes back again. If we hold on to the dibur, if we hold on to the tefillah, and to the words of our holy Torah, we will all be sure that we will all have, Be'ezrat Hashem, our own teva, our own ark that will lead us to many, many more years of peace, happiness, and shalva. Amen.